welcome to another installment of Metallic Reviews, the show where I take an honest look at the harder, heavier side of music and give it an honest rating. Today, we are diving back into one of my favorite metal realms, namely that of Christian metal. But today's subject isn't just any band. They're one of the absolute pioneers of early 2000s Christian metalcore. Yes, it's Demon Hunter and their new album Exile, released October 28th on Weapons MFG. Now, this is the band's first album of original material since their double release of War and Peace back in 2019. Last year, they had an acoustic album, Songs of Death and Resurrection, that came out, but this is their first album of all original material in a few years. Now, if any of you followed my channel in 2019, you know how much I enjoy this band. They've been a favorite of mine through my proto-Christian, my privately agnostic, and my reborn Christian phases. Yeah, I've been through a lot. But I've never really stopped enjoying this group. Their music is fantastic. Ryan Clark is an excellent vocalist. Well, at least that's what I know them to be. Have they put out something that will measure up to that? Let's find out. First off, this is definitely Demon Hunter at their most winding. The songs on here don't really follow an imprint, but rather retain their own specific identity. And sometimes those identities can be marred by either impatient songwriting or songwriting that may be a little too patient, a little plodding. More on that in a minute. But first, I've got to give props to the overall atmosphere of this album. It's just haunting enough to be considered somewhat eye-opening, yet just crisp enough to be considered listenable on a massive scale. Demon Hunter, they've really made a career out of doing just that, and they've succeeded yet again with this effort. Another positive about the album is the rather extensive guest list. Max Cavalera does guest vocals on album opener Defense Mechanism, which sounds just like something ripped straight out of mid-90s Sepultura, honestly. It's got that groove, it's got a twinge of melody to hold it all together, and it's got the absolutely face-melting vocals. Then there's Evergrey's Tom S. England's guest vocals on Silence the World. And they play to his strengths by having him belt out one of the record's most beautiful and melodic choruses. Finally, Judas Priest metal legend Richie Faulkner has a guest solo on the track Godless. It's absolutely amazing stuff, and very fitting for what the track has to offer musically. Now, lyrically, this album is definitely another Demon Hunter masterclass. As I mentioned earlier, Ryan Clark is one of my favorite lyricists, and in my opinion, one of the most underrated ones in all of metal, Christian, or secular. Now, this particular album is a concept album, and it comes with a comic book that probably needs to be read in order to understand the deeper themes. However, again, as a Christian, I do find God all over the lyrics here. The most blunt is probably in the ironically named track Godless, where Ryan states, "Godless is just a hollow hole." The most poetic is in Master, where Ryan bellows, "They tell me God is not enough for war, take a lesser man and bleed for him." It's just absolutely outstanding stuff that speaks to both spirituality and the state of our world today. That's the good. Now for some stuff that doesn't really work. As terrific of a lyricist as he is, Clark has never been my favorite when it comes to his rough vocals. The harsh stuff on here is... he's trying. Dadgummit, he's trying. He is trying. Let's just put it that way. Clark has never really had that punch. He's never had that extra oomph of other vocalists like Jamie Josta, Phil Labonte, Jesse Leach, Howard Jones, and others. He's an excellent singer, but the vocals on Defense Mechanism and Freedom is Dead could definitely use some polishing. There are other like-minded parts on the tracks Revolution and Devotion that feel somewhat out of place, like they felt that the song needed it, but upon further listens, it really doesn't. You know, while on the subject, let's talk about the album's weakest track, Freedom is Dead. It's definitely got that punk rock vibe, which is really, really good. But due to the overall production, the song does become somewhat muddled. Not only that, but it pops up suddenly after Another Place, which is a softer song, and is immediately followed by Praise the Void, which is another softer song. Freedom is Dead, amidst the overall sound that the band seemed to have been going for, feels incredibly lopsided in the grand scheme of things. Overall, Exile is definitely not the band's best work. I'm just going to say it right there, and it might offend some Demon Hunter fans out there. It ain't. It ain't their best work, folks. There are songs from their self-titled debut from 20 years ago that are miles better than anything you're going to find on here. But that being said, there are a lot of things to enjoy here. The lyrical work is of particular note and is among the best of the year so far. The guest list is extensive, and everyone plays their role really, really well. Production-wise, for the most part, it's crisp and clear with the massive soundscapes that everyone knows this band for. The problems lie in the marring of the identity of certain songs, rough vocals that were, frankly, rough, and some really rather extreme plotting towards the end, especially on the album's closing track. It's solid, yet it's unspectacular. Exile is getting a 3.5 out of 5. Thanks for watching. Click like and don't forget to subscribe for more weekly Metallic reviews. Next time, we're getting a little weird around here as we check out Devin Townsend's new solo album, Lightwork. I hope you'll join me. You've been watching Metallic Reviews, where I give honest ratings to honest music, and I will see y'all next time.